Round 15, Grand Prix Atlanta starts right now. Yam Wing Chun playing Dredge. He's up against Christopher Larson. Christopher's playing the Hardened Scales deck. And let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, Christopher with the namesake card in the hand, but on the draw. And game one, what happens a lot in Modern is that both decks just want to kind of enact their game plan. And then we're going to move to post-board games where Kihei cards are going to matter. Conflagrate is one of the key cards from the Dredge deck. If the engine of the Dredge deck works out, Conflagrate is capable of taking out multiple creatures from Christopher Larson's side. The card that's going to be a real problem for Yam is going to be something like Arcbound Ravager, because it's really hard. It's really easy to get Arcbound Ravager out of range of a Conflagrate and kind of spread away any damage that card might do. Something like Steel Overseer that normally would be really good in the Hardened Scales deck becomes much more of a liability when your opponent's playing many ways to get to Conflagrate. That card that Christopher Larson is reading is Golgari Fug. It's one of the new printings from one of the dual decks, so you may not be used to seeing that art. But yeah, it's Golgari Fug, essentially. You might as well read the card as Dredge 4, which a lot of the cards in this deck just are. A lot of lands, but if Yam has a life from the loam, this is actually not a problem, but it doesn't appear to be the case. So this is going to be a weakish turn. I can see a Conflagrate, which is probably going to be cast for 0, along with the Shriekhorn. First, though, probably Shriekhorn will mill for 2, just in case we hit a Bloodghast. Since hitting a Bloodghast plus the Prize Amalgam is 5 power right away. Well, start with a Creeping Chill. Lightning Helix off the top.
Yeah. It's a very different type of top deck.
Yes. I mean, basically what the Dredge deck is doing is it just goes, I'm going to play a lot of suboptimal cards, but I'll decide to draw 5 rather than 1 per turn. That's a way to put it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you playing cards from your graveyard, getting cards to move from your graveyard into play. But, of course, that is very vulnerable to a lot of sideboard strategies, as you've alluded to. So we'll see what happens once these guys switch things up. But, again, we've seen a lot of cards changing zones, but it's still only turn 2.
Interestingly, Yam didn't play the Conflagrate for 0. There's not many other plays, so that is quite a turn.
Yeah, two Arcbound Workers come down with 2 counters each, thanks to Hardened Scales.
But the question is, how relevant is that? It's pretty important. Yeah, so Yam doing this Shriekhorn upkeep just in case Dredge card was hit. And this is going to be an important turn to try to... This Dredge draw is actually relatively slow. There's a question for me here with... Let's see, Yam has... How many cards does Yam have in hand? Because I believe the answer to that question is 4 with the Conflagrate. If that's the case, then it's not actually... Then Yam is going to have trouble actually dealing with Christopher Larson's board. If Yam's hand size is exactly 5, so Conflagrate plus 4 cards, Yam gets to cast Conflagrate for 0, and then cast it for X equals 4 with discarding 4 cards, killing the workers, and making sure those counters go nowhere else. But then again, they're just 2/2s to the degree. The thing is, though, like you just want to make sure they stay 2/2s and they don't transfer their counters to another source.
That source being an Arcbound Ravager.
Oh, that would be awful.
In the worst case scenario. All right,
yeah.
Faithless Looting gets flashed back.
Yeah, so that looks like a Dredge card. That looks like Bloodghast and a Dredge card.
Let's see what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, this draw from Yam has been relatively slow.
Yeah, you see in his hand he's got an Archamoeba and a Creeping Chill. So cards you don't really want to draw.
Yeah. No, for sure you don't want to draw those cards. At least Creeping Chill you can dome for free in some scenarios. But yeah, it was interesting that Yam decided not to Conflagrate for 0, essentially here to keep an extra card in hand, which is important without Life from the Loam, so that this Conflagrate might deal 1 extra point of damage. Well, little note, when you play 15 rounds of your tournament, sometimes your sleeves get damaged.
All right, here's Ancient Stirrings, the unofficial card of Grand Prix Atlanta.
The best impulse ever printed. Not close.
Well, it finds an Arcbound Ravager.
Oh, well, that's... oh, my. This is going to be... Wait a second. This is a ton of damage coming.
There's a Mox Opal. There's another Ancient Stirrings.
Christopher Larson might be setting up for lethal the following turn. Arcbound Ravager plus these workers and Hangerback Walker, that's a ton of damage. Mox Opal, Darksteel Citadel, all this adds up. With an attack for 4 here, this is going to be very close to lethal.
Plays another Darksteel Citadel, crucially an artifact.
Wait a second, is this lethal already? No, like
Yeah.
seriously. I think we're not too far off. Citadel, Mox Opal, that would put the Ravager to 8. Sacking Worker would be 10, 13. And then moving it on is 14. So we were 3 off. That Creeping Chill was actually...
That's actually the difference in the ball game right now?
I believe so. This would have been, I think, 16 damage. Maybe I miscounted here. But Citadel's Mox Opal is plus 6. So Ravager
goes
would be
on to
at
the
8.
Ravager.
Worker would be sacrificed. We can put all to the Ravager. That would put Ravager to 10 and then 13. And then those can move over to the Worker. So that's 13 plus 1 counters 14. That would have been put Worker to 16. So yeah, that Creeping Chill was Yam surviving.
Yeah, and you see Christopher doing a little bit of his math here. Same math, doing it with these dice. Just working out. He's like, okay, these 3 represent 6 counters. He's like, yeah, no, it's. I think he came to the same conclusion you did. It's not quite enough. Content to deal 4 here.
Yeah, and I'm going to give the advantage to Christopher because I don't see how Yam can really come out of this easily. It would require at least 3 Narcomoebas, one of which is in Yam's hand. Yeah, and those are not cards you want to reveal.
All right, Shriekhorn. And
Yam revealed like almost all the lands in the deck. That's not... Yeah, I think this is going to be Christopher's
Dredges
game.
back a Golgari Thug. Does not hit Narcomoeba. Does not hit Creeping Chill.
Yeah, this is just... And now the Conflagrate, unfortunately, can't really do much. There's not... The Ravager will for sure survive. And the Arcbound Workers won't... Well, one might get sacrificed, but they won't die. Like, you could kill both, but that's still not helping. So, yeah, that's why you see Faithless Looting is Conflagrate just wouldn't do anything.
It's going to... Faithless Looting and Dredge
Okay, we
back.
hit 2 Narcomoebas.
Wow, look at this.
We need a third. We need to hit the absolute last Narcomoeba left in the deck. Bloodghast. Yeah, I think this is over. Basically, Christopher Larson can just attack here, and whatever creature isn't blocked, just make it lethal.
Again, every activation of the Arcbound Ravager where you sacrifice an artifact, it's going to put an extra counter on it because of the hardened scales. So Darksteel Citadel represents +2, Darksteel Citadel +2, Mox Opal +2.
Yeah. I think this is basically a game for Christopher Larson. I mean, after that mill being kind of subpar, Yam was forced to get all 3 Narcomoebas to even have a chance in this game. And not hitting them, I think Christopher Larson's going to, I mean, the line is found.
Yeah, he's going to play hard. He's going to play a Hangerback Walker. He's going to get 3 counters on it. And here you see starting to go through the motions.
For what it's worth, I believe that the best way to get less damage is to, let's see. I guess blocking the Ravager is just slightly better, or it doesn't actually matter. You transfer the counters, but get an additional. Yes, blocking the Ravager is probably a little better. Not that it matters in this case.
You can see the Ravager has 16 counters on it.
It's good enough.
18 counters.
Yeah.
Moves them.
Let's move all these dice.
Moves them all over to the worker, and handily dispatches Yamwing Chun there.
The largest Frankenstein's monster.
Really shows off the power of hardened scales.
Yeah, I mean that's why you play that deck. You're playing essentially. I think Hardened Scales has kind of proven itself to be a better Affinity deck.
Well, it's funny. In a lot of ways, it goes back to very old school Affinity, right? These are Arcbound Worker, Arcbound Ravager, obviously still in the deck, but those that kind of the modular mechanic in general being a real focus of it.
Yeah, it's just like the Arcbound Worker is like kind of the real difference, but it's kind of a interesting point that maybe Affinity should have been playing Ancient Stirrings all along. Galvanic Blast and Fought Cast were cards that like people considered, but maybe the right spell all along was Ancient Stirrings.
Card is phenomenal. It's shown itself to be super valuable in everything from Tron to Krark Clan Ironworks to this Hardened
To
Scales
Lantern
deck,
Control,
to
which we
Lantern
forgot
Control.
about, but won a Pro Tour this year.
Yeah, that's right.
Just got worse over time. But yeah, post-board, we're going to see both players bring in some pretty powerful cards. If you're a fan of Yam, we got Free Ancient Grudge and For Nature's Claim. Let's play maximum numbers of Vindicates. Vindicates with flashback, too. Dark Blast. Dark Blast is kind of awkward. It does kill Blinkmoth Nexus and Inkmoth Nexus, and an Arcbound Worker or Steel Overseer or Hangerback Walker that, without Hardened Scales, but it's a pretty conditional card. I think because it has Dredge, it'll probably come into the deck. The extra Conflagrate is kind of in a weird spot in this game. You saw it there. It's very easy to be one-off. It's very easy for Christopher Larson to kind of move around the counters to Conflagrate that normally would be good against a deck that's Affinity-like. Kind of has issues here. We might see the Lightning Axes. That's, again, suffers from the same issues. Like a lot of Yam's sideboard works, so then it's not a question of what do you bring in, it's what do you bring out. So I think the 4 Shriekhorn are one of the worst cards and likely to come out. Something like Creeping Chill is not as necessary in a matchup like this. So I think those are the cards that are going to come out. Kind of the turbo side of this Dredge deck, the Shriekhorns, the Creeping Chill, and focusing more on the kind of long-term semi-value creature focus. Christopher Larson's side, but what do you expect? But Graveyard hates. But it's actually lower than most people. 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 2 Tormod Script.
Oh,
you do have 4 Ancient Stirrings to help you get there, but Tormod Script is a one-shot blast. It is important, but it doesn't stop something like an Ancient Grudge, unless Yam is tapped out. Grafdigger's Cage, much more powerful, but again, 4 Nature's Claims that you're bringing in anyways, and the Grudge is going to be cast from the hand. I'd say that post-board, Yam is actually the one in a better position. It's really weird to say because normally the Dredge deck is almost always going to be worse post-board than their opposition because the cards that the players bring in to beat Dredge are very powerful and usually good enough. But now it's the reverse scenario that's happening here where Yam's sideboard is just better set up to win the match than Christopher Larson's. So we're going to see the very weird matchup where Dredge is favored post-board. It's rare. It's very rare. It's like Dredge, you play Dredge because you win game 1 and you're hoping to win one of game 2 or free. But here that equation's reversed.
So we're talking about all these sideboard decisions. What's at stake for these players now? The Grand Prix top 8. For Christopher Larson, it would be his 10th Grand Prix top 8. He's got 1 win, but in 9 top 8 appearances. 10 Grand Prix top 8's pretty impressive number. Someone, you talked about the idea that this is one of the more feared players in the Danish Magic community, and you see why, but tearing up the European Grand Prix circuit for quite some time.
Not so well known kind of across the Atlantic in North America, but one of the absolute all-stars in Europe, but people just don't know about it.
Well, and Yam is sort of the same way, right? Like, people did not really know who he was until his unfortunate incident in the top 8 of the Pro Tour, where he went to his attack step.
Keywords:
sort of
2 cards.
2 cards, yeah, and could not attack with a Hazoret. But somebody who in the APAC region has done quite well at Grand Prix as well. 4 Grand Prix top 8s in his career, playing for a 5th here.
Yeah, no, for sure. I would definitely say that Yam is he's kind of proven himself, and he's continuing to do so.
You get a little glimpse of Christopher Larson's personality there as he mugs for the camera.
Yeah, he very much larger than life.
Both of these players are.
That is true. These are some of the more it's not vocal. What's the term? Exuberant characters on the tour.
Yeah, and players who a lot of times you'll see players very focused, very head down when they play a game of Magic.
Not these.
Very quiet. Neither of these guys are. They're both really enjoying themselves and are able to have a good time, sort of win, lose, or draw. Really, really take the game as the way it's meant to be. We make that joke about Magic the way Richard Garfield intended it to be played. Well, he intended it to be played where people have fun.
Right, yeah.
That's certainly something both of these guys do while they're playing.
Yeah, and that's a philosophy I've personally approached. I had one of the more miserable experiences in my life playing a deck in Standard I did not enjoy, and then vowed from there I will play to Magic because I enjoy myself. So I will play decks that make me be happy to play Magic, and I think something important is to realize, we're playing this game as well because we enjoy it. You're not playing this game out of spite or anything. You're playing it because you enjoy it.
I know some people who play it out of spite.
That's fair. Most of us play it for enjoyment. That enjoyment differs
know
from
who you
individual.
are.
Yes, but most of us played for enjoyment, but that enjoyment just differs from person to person. And both of these played because of the social aspect of the game. All right.
Yam Wing Chun, he'll be on the play.
If Yam keeps a 7 and I see... Okay, 2 Narcomoebas
Oh,
is
boy.
definitely...
That is not a great opening hand here. That's essentially a double mulligan for the Dredge deck already, right?
Kind of, but this Faithless Looting is the best enabler in the deck by far, so that would be the only consideration I have. There's also no Ancient Grudge, no Nature's Claim. I would be in favor of shipping this hand. You can, discard Conflagrate Bloodghast, but this hand can go wrong very fast.
You're already down. Down 2 virtual cards.
Yeah. I don't know. The keep is really tough here. I understand. If the Faithless Looting wasn't there, it was, for sure not a keep.
But he kept it. Faithless Looting. You can just discard those Narcomoebas. But he's got a Life from the Loam that he can get rid of here.
That was a very key card here. That Life from the Loam was critical to success.
And as many of my Dimir draft opponents have shown, you can still always cast a Narcomoeba.
There were several things wrong with that statement. Is that a Nature's Claim from Larson?
That sure looks like Nature's Claim.
Wow, so the plan is to just kill your own Hangerback Walker? That's why the card is there. There's not really something that Yam has that you want a Nature's Claim, so it's probably there to just kill their Larson's own creatures. Okay. Yeah, and you can see Yam heavily sideboarding here. Lightning Axe was on top already of Free Grudge and 4 Nature's Claim, all of which will definitely have been in the deck. Because they're not in Yam's opening hand, though, that means these dredges are going to be a little less powerful as time goes on. Now, Christopher Larson knows about that Conflagrate, and Yam knows that Christopher Larson knows about that Conflagrate. So that means that basically you're not expecting something like Steel Overseer. That would be quite basically opening yourself up. So you're expecting something like Ravager or Arcbound, or Hangerback Walker as Christopher Larson played here.
All right, so Mox Opal, Hangerback Walker, turns on the Opal. He's able to play Ancient Stirrings. What is he going to find?
That looks like a Gravedigger's Cage, and that would be my pickup. Barring that other artifact, which looks like Welding Jar, I think the Gravedigger's Cage is the most likely pickup.
There you get a look at Gravedigger's Cage.
Nature's Claim being boarded in from the Hardened Scales deck is actually a really interesting take.
Now explain what when you say he's going to use that on his own creatures. To what end?
Sure. So essentially, may use it on his own permanents to, for example, fire a bunch of Thopters, have a way to kill this Hangerback Walker and flood the board. But it's also gaining 4 life. The Dredge deck is a deck that wins off very low margins life total-wise. So, yeah, killing your own creature is totally fine. And if Christopher Larson's plan is to kill with Inkmoth Nexus, for example, that's 4 life, not a problem. Also, as you saw last game, it goes way over damage-wise.
All right, well, Yam has a plan, and that plan is continue to dredge Life from the Loam.
Interestingly, did not return Bloodghast last turn, which I didn't mention, but was trying to wait for a prized Amalgam. I'm going to give the advantage to Christopher Larson here. I feel like Yam should have mulliganed that hand, and we're kind of seeing why as a result. There weren't, we hit a Dredger, but even then it's not going anywhere crazy. And we don't have Nature's Claim. We're trying to hit Ancient Grudge now. That's, the card we need. But Conflagrate here at least gets to kill 2 creatures before they can become troublesome in Hangerback Walker and Arcbound Worker.
All right, well, here you see Conflagrate.
1/1/1. Yeah, I believe that the counters don't transfer since the Thopter's not in play to even target.
Yeah, that's correct. And while there's no extra mana for Larson to animate a Nexus here, because the counters do stay on the Nexus, even while it's in that limbo state of being a land.
Yeah. Here I am getting back to Bloodghast, deciding, well, I do need to put pressure at some point. And Yam is doing one of the typical dredged lines, which is trying to fire off large conflagrates with Life from the Loam. But I fear it might be too slow. Christopher Larson, yeah, animation module, Arcbound Ravager.
So this is a nice little combo here. The animation module gets him an extra Thopter, which is an extra creature you can sack to the artifact that you can sack to the Arcbound Ravager. Also a flying creature that you can put the Arcbound Ravager counters onto.
Creeping Chill. Yeah, that Arcbound Ravager is going to be very hard to kill. That's why you usually need spot removal for it. It's just too easy for your opponent to make it larger, and if you decide to leave something else, those counters just go somewhere else.
Gonna be honest, I'm probably gonna fire up a modern Q tonight and
try this Hardened Scale deck?
Fire up this Hardened Scales deck. I love animation module.
We don't have the full Mondo combo with what was it? Not Eldrazi Mimic, the other Mimic, Metallic Mimic. But still good in this deck. Worth noting, Christopher Larson is threatening lethal pretty easily here with those Inkmoth Nexi. Happy to take 5 here. It's just not. Yeah, like, the thing is, those two Inkmoth Nexi with Arcbound Ravager are close to lethal. So I think Yam... Let's see, we go up to 5 cards, but this Ravager can easily become 4. A 4/4, so Conflagrate for 4 on it wouldn't kill it. And then Christopher Larson can just start firing up some Inkmoth Nexi. So yeah, this is looking really bad for Yam. And part of that is just not having a Nature's Claim, not having an Ancient Grudge. And I think coming back to the initial decision to keep that hand.
Okay, well, he's found a use for those Narcomoebas. They're going to get pitched to Conflagrate.
Yeah, for 4. But we can sacrifice the Servo, the Thopter, the Mox Opal, and the animation module, and it's a 5/5. And like having that around for Inkmoth Nexus is great. That said, actually, with this pattern, Ravager would go to 5, and Inkmoth Nexus could be then a 6, plus the other one 7. Actually, wait, it's 5. We can sacrifice the Nexus to the Ravager 6, and then put them on as 7. But you can't do that right away because then the Narcomoeba could just hang back and just block it. So I think Larson is favored by this play.
Wow. Yeah, look at this.
But
brings his Arcbound Ravager up to a 5/5. Just sacks a huge chunk of his
ooh,
board.
okay, we're done.
There's Hardened Scales.
I think this is over. Like, basically, we animate an Inkmoth Nexus here. That'd be 1. Then the other... Then we can sack another one, so that puts Ravager to 7. Actually, Yam is at exactly over 1. Like, 1... I think it's 9 poison total.
My math comes up to 9 here.
Yeah, so I think the line here is to just animate a Nexus and attack for 1 poison. And then next turn, this Ravager can go on anything and keep that land up so that if Yami has an answer for Ravager, like decides to natural draw into something like a Nature's Claim or gets an Ancient Grudge, you can move those counters across at least. But actually, this is going to be really close. I don't think Christopher's advantage, but maybe not by that much. If Yam can dredge an Ancient Grudge, which is fairly likely with Faithless Looting, and keep back the Narcomoeba, there's a decent chance of taking this one down and moving on to game 3. But I like Christopher here going for 1 Infect. It's possible to also just sacrifice Inkmoth Nexus to Ravager and make it 9 overall. With the line being next turn I have 2 Inkmoth Nexus. But I think this is the best line. Just keep a mana up and have the maximum amount of outs.
So I'm doing a quick check of the math there. Is it called line? Just make sure. Nope.
1 off. Yeah, they were. You saw them laughing. 1 off.
All right. Life from the loam. Dredge again.
Oh,
There's a
is that the
conflagrate.
third conflagrate? But obviously a lot less valuable in this spot.
Yeah, he can only get up to 3 cards in his hand here. If that, I don't know if he has enough lands in his yard.
Yeah, there's free lands there.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But then you'd have to play one. Well, you don't have to play one, but free is not enough for a conflagrate here. So I think we're going to see Faithless Looting flashback. And Yam try to hit an Ancient Grudge. We're going to dredge at least 7, maybe more. A Narcomoeba would also be big game here. That is not relevant. None of these cards are relevant. Creeping Chill,
Oh.
not relevant. Oh, wait. With
2 Creeping Chills.
that puts Christopher Larson down to 5. This is really close.
Yeah, the life gain doesn't matter for Yam, but the damage could matter.
I think Christopher's got this. The Ravager acting as a blocker here is good enough. Since attacking with bow, I mean, Yam would win next turn, but I don't think Yam gets a next turn here. With 2 Inkmoth Nexus can be animated, and Christopher can just choose 1. And that's it. And that's the kind of conclusion they're coming to. Yeah, like, obviously hitting an Archamoeba would have been very improbable. Well, I mean, the Bloodghast should probably still have swung in anyways.
All right, Mox Opal. Animate 2. Inkmoth Nexus.
The thing is, Christopher Larson probably knows the card in Yam's hand here. I mean, our Grand Ravager's not doing
he's
anything.
Like, there's no need for me to attack with this Ravager.
Whoop.
Okay.
I think Christopher Larson is just going for it. There's almost no reason not to here. Even if you think that... I'm not sure if Christopher knows Yam's last card, but he's just checking. Yeah, and there's really nothing here that can go too wrong.
He's like, okay, I'm going to bring my Ravager up to 9. I'm going to put 10 counters over here. And what do you have?
A land?
There's the
A life
hand
from
from Yam Wing Chun.
Yeah, I think like the Christopher Larson knew that, but yeah.
Christopher Larson goes to 13-2. He's in a great spot here. Again, there may be a couple players. You know, it's going to be tight. There's going to be a scrum of players at X and 2. But, good tiebreakers and in great shape here to get his 10th career Grand Prix top 8. A huge benchmark in any Magic player's career.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know if it's a benchmark. It's just impressive.
Well, it's like, you get to 10, you get to a certain number of Pro Tour top 8s, you look at a resume. I think it's a benchmark. I think it's a pretty rare group of people who get to
It's
that
definitely
number.
a rare group of people. I mean, and back-to-back. He just top-8'd Lil.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're underselling that.
Yeah, he's top-8'd Lil in Standard, and now he's top-8ing this GP. What's next? The Pro Tour next week?
Yeah, who knows? He's going in on a heater. Okay, we've got more Magic coming up for you as we make our way to the top 8 announcement. Don't go anywhere. We've got a couple quick messages, then we'll bring you some more matches with players in top 8 contention here at Grand Prix Atlanta. talked a lot about the king of the fairies, Yuta Takahashi, playing in this tournament, trying to get his third Grand Prix win with this archetype. It's probably a loose interpretation of the archetype here, maybe more of a blue-black control deck with some fairies in it, but he is playing in the feature match area this round. He's playing against Takumi Utsunomiya, and what is his opponent playing?
Bridgevine.
Oh, we're going to get a little Bridgevine. So we'll see how this, very fair blue-black deck fares against this pretty unfair graveyard deck.
Yeah.
And let's see if Yuta Takahashi can get a crack at that third Grand Prix title playing with Spellstutter Sprite and Bitter Blossom.
Well, there's a namesake card on the top of the deck. Scryed, Bitter Blossom. With Yuta putting it second from the top. Oh, it seems Yuta doesn't have access to black mana. Faithless Looting. It's been such a... I mean, if Ancient Stirrings is one of the key cards of the tournament, Faithless Looting is the other. And,
oops. This is...
Okay.
The problem, there was a problem in the time continuum.
Spoiler alert. We're back onto game one.
Here we go. And now Yuta does have black mana.
To be fair, I don't think this game is going to last very long because it's so bad for the Fairies player.
Wow, look at this. A pair of Bloodghast, a pair of Viscera Seers.
That's a nice piece of synergy, by the way. You get to sacrifice both Bloodghast to scry. Also, this deck plays 4 Bridge from Below. So if you get one of those in the graveyard with Viscera Seer, Bloodghast as a combo, that is big game.
Looks like he's got a third Viscera Seer in hand here.
Yeah, it's less relevant. Attack for 6. Yeah, this matchup for Fairies is atrocious game one.
So for Martin User fans out there, he was 14-0 coming into this round, played for the 15-0.
And lost.
But, yeah, it fell by the wayside. He did lose this round, but 14-1, still good enough. They let you play in your 32nd Grand Prix top 8 in your career with a 14-1 record. So we'll be seeing some Martin in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, for sure. Doing it with Hollow 1, 2, and probably seeing that it was 14-1, 2. Martin's an exceptional player. But, yeah.
Meanwhile, Yuta Takahashi's falling behind here.
The Scourge of Standard Pass, Bitter Blossom, Univaults. With a few friends, Watery Grave, Darksley Shores, and Serum Vision's not quite legal when those were in Standard. But yeah, here Takumi still very, 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 very far ahead just by deck advantage. Flashing back that Faithless Looting is going to be big. I guess here Yuta would have an interaction piece, but still. Just the board is good enough here. Bitter Blossom does give Yuta some time, but then this Bitter Blossom's taking down inexorably, and there's not really life gain. So if Yuta gets down to a low life total, that's kind of going to be it.
And you certainly don't care about Bitter Blossom eating a Bloodghast because they just keep coming back.
Looks like the plan is actually to ambush Viper one of these Bloodghasts, which sounds like the worst possible thing. Well, it'll probably be getting the Viscera Seer. But between the Fairy Rogue token and a Snapcaster Mage coming down, even though it's for no value, that would eat up a Viscera Seer. Flashback, Faithless Looting, drop a card. Vengevine and Gravecrawler.
Wow.
Gravecrawler is also a pretty sweet piece of interaction, but you need a zombie in play. So, yeah. Takumi here not willing to risk those Viscera Seers. I think quite rightfully so. And now the Snapcaster Mage looks much less tempting as bait.
Yeah. Takahashi holding a Snapcaster Mage.
It might be, yeah. The thing is, Yuta would be tempted to play Snapcaster Mage, blocking both Bloodghasts with the view of, well, then I can actually protect one of the Jace the Mind Sculptors, so I get to use it for at least one more turn. But I think here the line is take the damage, go to 9, and then play Snapcaster Mage end of turn anyways into Jace, and then you have 2 Fairy Rogue tokens and a Snapcaster Mage to protect the Jace. Forcing an all-out attack, and at least Jace would be Brainstorm plus eating up some Seers. And there's no guarantee that this Vengevine comes back. You still need... Takumi still needs to cast 2 non-creature spells. For those wondering and maybe hearing the background, that was a top 8 for another event.
Yeah. Yes. No one meets at the blue gathering point for the GP top 8. That's not how that works.
Just another event in the weekend, right? It's fine. Ooh, Stitch Supplier.
Yeah.
The fact that it's a zombie is pretty egregious.
Yeah, and you talked about the idea that the Gravecrawler needs a zombie.
Ooh, there's that bridge from below. That is huge.
So here comes Snapcaster Mage.
With Yuta at 8 life.
He falls to 8 from the Bitter Blossom.
These Viscera Seers can sacrifice Bloodghast and start with Stitch Supplier, even though you lose a zombie. Because now you have a few. Yeah, you sacrifice Stitch Supplier first, mill free, then you're going to scry 1, and you're going to try to get to a land. And what a land enables you to do is basically sacrifice these Bloodghasts and get them back. And they have haste, so you get a bunch of zombies. So yeah, you're going to see pretty sweet end of turn here.
Wow, look at this. Okay.
First mill free to get rid of those, and then now start scrying. If it's a land, keep it. Okay. Now you sacrifice some Bloodghasts. Unless it's a creature card. A creature card would get Vengevine back too.
Yep. It's going to just keep making zombies with these Bloodghasts.
Like, the worst case scenario is, like, you don't hit a land, but you still get a bunch of zombies.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was kept on top, which leads me to believe it was a land. Well, or it looks like Takumi's thinking about it. It is one of the last scries available. But, yeah, it looks like... Yeah, we can cast Grave Crawler. It would have been a creature. Yeah, oh, wow. Yeah, Goblin Bushwhacker getting back Vengevine. That is a ton of damage. And we're getting 2.
Okay, so deja vu all over again. Yuta Takahashi leads things off with the Serum Visions, sees a Bitter Blossom, but is going to put it 2 down because...
the hand is Island Field of Ruin. Yeah, that's correct. It's not so bad a pattern. Yuta on turn 3 gets to go Island, Field of Ruin, and play a push, but this matchup is horrific for fairies. The only thing that Yuta can really bring in that helps here are things like Nihil Spellbomb and Relic of Progenitus. Engineered Explosives also getting rid of all the zombie tokens. 2 Surgical Extraction also key. So these are the cards that Yuta is really looking for. Surgical Extraction with Snapcaster Mage looks particularly nice in this matchup. And there's that Nihil Spellbomb. Spellstutter is probably a card you keep because it counters a card like Faithless Looting, but maybe not at its best trying to stop a Gravecrawler.
Yeah, you see Vengevine and Gravecrawler in the yard.
Yeah, don't play the Nihil Spellbomb now. You don't want your opponent to know about it, and you're pretty unlikely to use it here. I mean, it is possible for Takumi to decide to get a Vengevine back. This will probably get countered, yeah.
Blood Crazed Neonate.
Is this a... Yep.
Wow, look at this. He gets a Vengevine back by casting his second creature of the turn. Doesn't care if they were countered or not. And in comes Vengevine for 4.
Yeah, but here the play pattern for Yuta is going to be to pass the turn to Takumi, basically wait till the turn does, and then play Fatal Push. But, oh, wow, decides to just play a Nihil Spellbomb here. I'm a bit surprised by this choice, but I guess in that regard, you get to guarantee. Yep, definitely counter that. Agreed. Yeah. Trade.
Trades for the Bushwhacker.
So now you
falls
get
to 12.
Yeah. Now you get to play crack the Field of Ruin for a swamp, and if you draw a Black Source, you get to draw a card with that Nihil Spellbomb. But I don't think it's a necessity in this spot. You're also getting a lot of incidental value, right? You're getting rid of this Grave Crawler, and a Faithless Looting, as well as the Vengevine, of course, which are Fatal Pushing. Ooh, the almighty 2-drop.
Yeah, there's a Bloodghast.
Now this gets interesting. It depends how greedy Yuta believes the necessity is here. Because what Yuta could do here is block Bloodghast, Fatal Push Vengevine, and then crack the Nihil Spellbomb at end of combat once everything's died to get maximum value out of killing all of these. And then Takumi would be left with very little. Ooh, Gravecrawler here is kind of awkward because the other Gravecrawler would come back. So this might force a response from Yuta. But then again, they're both 2-1s, and getting rid of Bloodghast might be more important than Gravecrawler.
All right, he lets it resolve.
Yeah, obviously cast is pre-combat, aware that shenanigans may happen. Yep. Oh, nope. I think you have to Fatal Push this turn. You can't keep taking this much damage. Goes for the green source, which gives Takumi an extra mana for this turn. But just wants to make sure that no green cards can get cast. Specifically, the green mana here for Assassin's Trophy. I guess you can hard cast Vengevine with 2 green sources as well. Yep. So Fatal pushes the Vengevine here. And once end of combat, will sacrifice the Nihil Spellbomb. To be fair, 2 creature spells have been played, but you just want to avoid any shenanigans. Say if Takumi played a fetch land here, it would be very easy to get back the Bloodghast.
So they got another Field of Ruin there.
Yeah, and these Gravecrawlers are actually very frustrating. It's a lot of damage. And if Yuta Fiddle pushes one of them, the other one easily comes back. So it's not a desirable scenario. I mean, Yuta can play a Bitter Blossom, but falling to 8 at least. That's how. If Yuta took no more damage, 8 would be 7. Essentially, Yuta would have 7 turns from that point onwards. There is no real reach part, but actually no, I lied. There's Walking Ballista. A little number might be shaved, but it's actually a pretty good card against the Creatures Fairies is trying to assemble.
Takashi decides he's got to play that Bitter Blossom.
That Faithless Looting was amazing. Oh, wow. Bloodghast. Wow.
Oh, boy.
Bridge from below, Bloodghast with a fetch land and Walking Ballista. That is a ton of damage.
Plays the land, gets the Bloodghast, and he is firmly in control of this match right now.
Yeah, but not casting the Ballista here might have been a slight misstep. I understand wanting to keep it, like to get value from a Vengevine down the line, which I believe is what happened, right? Or you might flashback Faithless Looting and get an extra bridge. But now Yuta has access to open mana. But then again, Takumi is also, well, if you're going to like counter something, then that's fine. I'm dealing you a ton of damage.
Now here's Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Ugh, that is... I mean, against that army, that's it, right? Takumi's got it. You just Walking Ballista for X equals 2. Kill the Fairy Rogue, deal 6. And your choice as to whether Bitter... I think killing Yuta with the Bitter Blossom trigger is a far more poetic ending.
Absolutely.
You could decide to use the Walking Ballista trigger, of course, which would be the more correct finish, but yeah. Yeah, those Gravecrawlers... Yeah, drawing that Gravecrawler on the exact turn Yuta was planning to get rid of the Vengevine was key. Yep, Walking Ballista, and we're done.
Wow. Takumi Utsunomiya, he wins 2-0 with Bridgevine over Fairies. We've seen a lot of Graveyard decks, but this Bridge from Below one looks like it's capable of doing some pretty degenerate stuff. Yeah,
and it's a lot faster. So the idea of that deck is you're not trying to get Graveyard value over a very long game. So you're just trying to essentially make 2/2s. If they play Rest in Peace, for example, you're just trying to get some bridges and get your Vengevines out on turn 2 on the play, and they're like, well, this Rest in Peace does nothing. There's 10 power on the board.
All right, well, we're going to continue to figure out who's in our top 8. Let's head back down to the feature match area. We have some more Time Walk action. We've got Caleb Scherer playing Storm. He's playing against Ikawa Yoshihiko. And again, you see a lot of Japanese players in attendance this weekend. You might not normally expect to see players coming to, North America for a GP, but with a Pro Tour in town next week, you're going to see a lot of people from all over the world who might not normally come to any one GP on a given weekend.
Well, we have a Danish player and a Japanese player most likely in the top 8 already. So that statement's very true.
Yoshiko, of course, playing Tron. You see him starting to assemble stuff. Tron,
Relic Progenitus, right? So good here.
it is really good against these Storm decks, which are looking to, relive their glory years with Past in Flames.
I mean, they kind of do, but yeah, with the mana up on Relic, okay, here's the thing. Storm is hugely advantaged against Tron. However, because of Dredge kind of getting more of a presence, more players have decided to play a Relic of Progenitus main deck, a card that kind of fell out of favor for a while, just to be able to combat these graveyard decks. And Storm kind of gets a little bit of incidental hate from there. Is that what was that last card? It looked like Empty the Warrens.
It did look like.
There is one main deck, so
Okay.
is Caleb just going to go for a turn, an Empty the Warrens here?
All right. He says Ritual.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Goblin Electromancer.
And then Empty the Warrens for 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So 8 goblins. This is a 2-turn clock.
He says, I would like to make some goblins. Here on turn 3, makes 8 of them to go with his 2 Goblin Electromancers, which can now get to their real passion in life, attacking for 2.
Right.
That's all a Goblin Electromancer wants to do.
And Caleb does this in full knowledge that Ikawa would not be able to clear the board until turn 4. Oblivion Stone plus Tron or Ugin the Spirit Dragon, and with Unsubstantiate, Caleb's capable of stopping that spell on curve. Now, if Ikawa goes Oblivion Stone this next turn, then there's almost nothing that Caleb can do if Ikawa then goes Tron. That's why Ikawa is cycling as well. That Relic just needs to, yeah. So we have Unnatural Tron. And Ikawa is going to try the hardest possible to get to an Oblivion Stone. So we're adding green mana here most likely. Unsubstantiate does not return any permanent. It returns a spell or a creature. So Ikawa really needs to get that Oblivion Stone in play this turn. If Ikawa gets an Oblivion Stone this turn, Ikawa probably just wins the match, or this game at least.
Caleb gives him the thumbs up for keeping track of how much mana is in your pool.
Yeah.
The Storm player usually is the only person who has to do this.
Right, so we're looking at the top 5. As long as Oblivion Stone is in one of these, Ikawa's hugely favored. Ugin the Spirit Dragon seems like a good pickup, but between a Substantiate and Remand being in the Storm Dragon, Ikawa knows that this is not the card that was needed. Here, there are a few more cards that Ikawa can cycle. And I believe that that's the approach that Ikawa is going to take. Since you have so much mana, you might as well continue this digging. Wormcoil Engine.
Not a terrible draw here.
It wouldn't be, but we're lacking 1 mana.
Oh, no.
With 1 more mana, Ikawa could have put Wormcoil Engine into play.
He's got a green in his pool here.
Right, plus 4. With 1 more mana, this would have been, like, if this one came off the stirrings, that would have been perfect. I mean, at that point, Caleb can decide to bounce the Wormcoil Engine, but then you have access to potentially Stone or Ugin. And yeah, here with the Sylvan Scrying, there's no land that really helps. Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale is reserved to alpha format.
Yes.
Yeah, and just cast the Relic.
Yeah, next turn this will let him try to make an attempt at Ugin the Spirit Dragon and exile all these colored permanents.
But the Substantiate in Caleb's hand, that's it. Once Caleb untapped, that was kind of the game. There's not really anything that Ikawa can do to survive here. I don't think there's a sequence. So we're going to probably just move on to game 2 in short order. There might be Ikawa doesn't know about the Unsubstantiate, so you're going to see a little bit of sequencing. But yeah, Ugin, Unsubstantiate, game 2.
Wow, there it is.
I like how we tap 2 lands when we have 2 Electromancers in play.
Caleb has played this match
many times.
Many times in his life.
Many times. you're gonna see from Ikawa, Grafdigger's Cages, and however, only one Thoughtseize. The free Thoughtseizes are gonna come in. Sorry, I mean only one Thought Not Seer.
Okay.
Usually a card that Tron players have free of, but Ikawa also plays free Thoughtseize to complement the 4/4. And we're gonna. It seems that's gonna be the starting line.
Well, here is Thoughtseize.
Caleb, though, still remains quite favored in this matchup. I kind of want to see an Ignite Memories kill, though. That would be a sweet finish to this match.
I mean, pretty great against Tron, if you can pull it off. All right, we're going to just mute or pause. What are we doing here? All right, we're going to mute this, and then we'll let these guys continue playing. But when we come back, you'll know your top 8. All right, welcome back to the Time Walk action. Got a doozy of a top 8 coming up for you, but we don't want to spoil anything just yet.
Yeah.
So let's see who wins this match. I can tell you that the winner of this match will be in the top 8.
Yeah, that's there's a stake. Now, here, by the way, Thoughtseize taking and substantiate. With Thoughtseize, you usually want to target, the thing that is unique. And what seems to be unique, well, is interaction. A substantiate is the only piece of interaction. It's very good against Tron. Even Remand not drawing a card is good enough. But by leaving Goblin Electromancer, that leads me to believe that Ikawa would have an answer to the card, which Caleb would also see. So Caleb decides not to expose the Electromancer and just plays a Serum Visions and setting up, believing that Ikawa would have an answer to Electromancer since it was left in the hand.
Oh, wow.
Which is an interesting little piece there.
A little mini game you get to play when you play Magic.
Yeah, because, I mean, if I was in Caleb's seat, I would definitely think that Ikawa had removal for the Goblin Electromancer. Otherwise, I would believe that that was the card that would be taken. It's an interesting approach here. And Caleb playing around a removal spell that probably exists, but isn't 100%.
All right. So Yoshiko thinking about...
Is that Unnatural Tron into Karn Liberated?
Oh, this game got a lot simpler.
Yeah, well, the answer to Goblin Electromancer happened to be the best answer possible.
I did have the removal spell.
The problem is that Caleb, by not playing Goblin Electromancer, does not have a third land in play and gave almost no out. So now Caleb is going to have to go... Caleb's definitely going to have to go off here. Or not. That was a... Okay. I don't know if Caleb could really afford to not try a Hail Mary here. The line was potentially to Pyritic Ritual, Metamorphose the Goblin Electromancer, and then try to go off, but maybe it was just not possible. I think Caleb would have given a chance here, but Karn Liberated taking a land is 2 lands is so huge. Wait, is that another Karn Liberated in hand?
All right, Karn's going to take a second land. It's going to go away.
Oh my!
But Karn continues
continues
its liberation. Oh my gosh. Just takes all the lands. Leaves Caleb with nothing.
Oh,
We're going to get a
horrible.
game 3 here. Shivan Reef leads things off. Take a point of damage.
Yeah,
Play a Serum Visions.
took the unsubstantiate because Ikawa basically went, I have everything. I'm just going to make sure there's no out. That was brutal. Fotzie's into Karn, liberated, turn free. Wait a second. Is that happening again? No. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. There's not enough Tron pieces in that hand. You know when people are watching this and believe that the Storm player is doing the fight for the good, that's something warped. Magic has warped.
The people's hero, Storm.
Goblin Electromancer, the people's hero.
I do love a Goblin Electromancer.
That's true. But Goblin Electromancer is lovable. Sorry, Baral, Chief of Compliance, the people's hero.
Oh, yeah. All right. Here's Sylvan Scrying. So we can't get the Tron before turn 4.
That's fine. That sounds reasonable to me. But the Relic of Progenitus is stopping Caleb's absolute best draws and from occurring. But now that Ikawa's tapped out, I mean, there is a window for Caleb to just go turn free win.
Actually goes and gets Llanowar Wastes. So
That's interesting. Ikawa giving a lot of value to that Fotzie's in hand and believing that it's better to interact now and try to worry about getting Tron a little later. But it seems like Caleb has a bunch of... Oh, is that Ignite Memories?
that is Ignite Memories. You asked for it. We might get to see it.
I don't think we'll see it for free copies. I think that's a little too low. We're probably going to see Caleb go for that pieces of the puzzle here and try to build up more rituals and go for, like, say, an Ignite Memories for 5. Oh, man, that would be sick if this top 8 rode. The thing with Ignite Memories against Tron is it's such a min-max card. Like, either you're hitting 0s, 1s, or 8s. And you want to time it so that you get through as many of those cheap 1s as possible and go, okay, now my opponent has a maximum number. But Fotzie's from Ikawa is going to hurt that plan massively. Actually, there's Metamorphose. I think this is too early. I think Caleb... This is hard. You see Llanowar Waste, so you suspect that a Fotzie's is going to come because it's such a weird card. Caleb passing the turn here. What is the plan?
Here's Thoughtseize.
Are we...
It also puts Ishikawa to 17. Makes that Ignite Memories.
Let's substantiate on Fotzie's.
Yeah.
Just try to buy that extra turn. Remove that. Into Expedition Map. Okay. Caleb gave them... That's not a remand, though. Substantiate. Spire Bluff Canal. So painful here. With another land, Caleb could have done something wonderful. Basically, with another land, that would have been plus 2 mana. Piece of the Puzzle is a lot of mana, though, so maybe it wouldn't have been possible. Caleb here can maybe lead off with a Metamorphose and hitting a Electromancer, but I think this Pieces is better, even knowing Fotzie's might come.
All right, piece of the puzzle.
Ooh.
See a Wipe Away, a Serum Visions.
That's not quite what we were hoping for.
And that's what he's going to get, though.
Yeah,
Plays that Spire Bluff Canal.
Yeah, so Ikawa here thinking about attacking the Relic, but I think keeping it as a seal of Anti-Pass and Flames is better. That probably the worst name seal of all time. But yeah, Fotzie's getting Ignite Memories here is a pretty big game. Because Caleb has access to a ton of rituals.
Oh, wow.
And Ikawa knows that Ignite Memories is... Yeah, there we go. It's gone.
Ignite Memories. What a...
That would have been so nice. But I understand why Caleb didn't fire it. Like, Ignite Memories for 4 when you suspect your opponent has a bunch of lands and 1-drops and 2-drops in hand. I think Ikawa only had a 1 Karn liberated, so it was very unlikely to get there.
Man, you miss every Ignite Memories you don't take.
Life lesson.
Yeah.
Kind of like taking Urza's Mine here. So people might be wondering, why not take Tower right here rather than Mine? you want Tower to be the last land because your other lands are tapping for 1. You want your last land to be the one that taps for the most. So it's better if Tower is the final Tron piece you're playing. A little bit of optimization there. But yeah, with, what was the hand? Oblivion Stone, Karn Liberated, Karn Liberate. Oh man, that would have been... maybe one of these was drawn, but yeah.
All right. Serum Visions go digging for another. Does he have more than one Ignite Memories in his deck?
No, sadly, that's the only one.
Oh.
And Ikawa is not tapping that, is not using that relic until needed. So it's kind of, although with Wipe Away, Caleb could end of turn wipe away this Relic of Progenitus. So I think Ikawa is kind of in a position forced to cycle the relic at some point.
Split second, of course, being the mechanic on Wipe Away, which means you can't actually respond.
Yeah. Right. Now, that said, Ikawa could also go, well, I didn't see Past in Flames. So I'm not going to worry about that part and just hope that Caleb doesn't have Past in Flames. So I'm just going to keep this relic up. And if Caleb wants to Gifts Ungiven it, okay. Caleb gets to to Wipe Away. That's fine. Island Remand. Well, the thing is, Remand on top is a kind of nice. You get to use Manamorphose into Remand if you desire. Caleb could have also gone Manamorphose into that land. But yeah, correctly, in my view, cracking that relic before it's too
absolutely
late.
Thinking about that Wipe Away there.
Yeah. Wait, was that just drawn Tower?
Oh, yeah, sure looks like it.
Why not?
All right, going to lead things off with Thoughtseize before he gets into his Urza mana.
Caleb letting this resolve. Yeah, and the Remand from the top will have an effect.
So while we wait for this to play out, I can tell you who else is in the top 8 beyond the winner of this match. I can tell you first place, Martin Yuza with 42 points, Peiyun Zhang with 42 points, Christopher Larson with 39 points, Kazu Negri, Zhao Choka.
Winner of Grand Prix, I think Turin was an M19 limited GP.
Yeah, Takumi Utsunomiya, who we saw playing, and in 8th place. So the winner of this match is going to end up in 7th. In 8th place, Canister, Peter Glogowski.
Back,
Pro Tour top 8.
Came in out of nowhere, yeah.
Yeah. Sneaks in at 39. One player missed on 39 points. That was Love Rask.
Yeah, and then Yan Wing Chun coming in 10th place. Limernus at 37 points as well. Pro Tour top 8er from Dominaria. Then after that, a lot of good players at 36.
Yeah, a lot of great players. Yuta Takahashi ends up in 13th place with his Fairies deck.
By the way, there you saw that interaction. The Thoughtseize getting the Gifts Ungiven since that's the scariest card by far, especially now with Relic of Progenitus gone. And Caleb going opt into Remand, all that Karn Liberated. And now Caleb's going for it. Or not. There's a Goblin Electromancer in hand. And if we're tapping like that, we're playing Manamorphose first. Get that info. And the info says we're not going off today, sir. Yeah, Ikawa taking the Gifts Ungiven was pretty key. Caleb might as well play the Goblin Electromancer here. There's a second one available at the ready.
Any reason to not play both?
Ikawa will keep some number of Oblivion Stone, and you don't want to run into that.
Okay, there's your answer. All right, 5 cards in hand there for Yoshihiko.
This might be okay. Caleb deciding to maybe play the second Electromancer. But that would be the reason is Oblivion Stone. Oh, Wipe Away.
Going to wipe away one of the Tron pieces.
That might have looked a little strange. So what Caleb was probably worried about was Ikawa going to 10 mana for Anula Mog the Ceaseless Hunger.
Absolutely. Just keeping him off a double tower or whatever, or any piece turn.
Yeah, probably just like decided, you know what, this Wipe Away has very low value right now, so I'm just going to do whatever with it. Unfortunately, yeah, for Caleb, Unsubstantiate and Wipe Away are kind of low impact cards, so Caleb's piece of the puzzle, card advantage, got undone by drawing these cards that are very conditional.
All right, here's Karn Liberated. Eats the Electromancer, another Relic of Progenitus.
But you can see Caleb's Wipe Away working. If Caleb top decks a Past in Flames, then Caleb can take this game down. Yeah, Wipe Away, not the card you need. So this is Caleb's top deck to win the match and top 8 this tournament. Caleb really needs to top deck. A card advantage, Pass in Flames. Not that island. That island. Oh, and you can just see it. I just saw Caleb's flick there. That was a pretty violent. Not like this. Yeah, Caleb's hand motion just showcases the frustration there.
And
that
again,
was the turn.
And he goes up on Karn.
And now Caleb is kind of out of it. Electromancers plus Pyretic Ritual, when you don't have access to Pass in Flames, is not going to allow you to come back into this.
Plays a second Karn. He's going to get rid of his first one.
Yep, let's get another card.
Karn Liber-9'd.
And yeah, this is it. That was the turn. Caleb needed to top deck that turn.
Wow.
Caleb did not.
Gets both his rituals gone.
And that, I think, Ikawa's got this.
With the Relic of Progenitus up and an Oblivion Stone. Not that he can activate the Oblivion Stone this turn.
Not that he requires it. Oh, man.
And Caleb just says go. He says maybe he'll start a new game.
I would say the chances of that.
Very
I think
slim.
Ikawa is really happy with how this game is going.
Yeah, he's like, I like this one.
This game is fine. I don't plan to restart this game.
Cast Ancient Stirrings. Finds Ulamog, a card you talked about before. He's got more than enough mana to cast that.
There was an interesting point here where when Ikawa first played the Karn Liberated, exiling the Goblin Electromancer, it might have been correct to actually just keep up mana for that Relic of Progenitus instead.
Well, you know what? He's still got a puncher's chance here. There's Goblin Electromancer. He's going to play a Metamorphose that he just drew off the top.
This is going sadly nowhere.
Still a puncher's chance. And instead of punching, he extends the hand and congratulates Yoshihiko Ikawa on reaching the top 8 here at Grand Prix Atlanta. That completes our top 8. Just again, we have Martin Yuza, Peiyun Zhang, Christopher Larson, Kazu Negri, Zhao Choka, Takumi Utsunomiya, Yoshihiko Ikawa, and Peter Glogowski. There you get a look at the standings, and the top 8 is going to be coming up in a little bit. And wow! So what are you thinking? I'm sure trying to. Well, they'll walk through the deck archetypes. I'll talk to you a little bit about the shape of this top 8 metagame. Don't go anywhere. We've got top 8 coming up Sunday Night Magic here at Grand Prix Atlanta.